Hello, this is Dunedien. I got the chance to play Dresden Files, the card game, as a group with some friends of mine, and it was a hit. It was a great game. One of the concerns going into this was that it was going to be one of those cash grabs where it just had a name on it and it was just sort of a generic game. But there's definitely a lot there. It's a challenging game if you go with the moderate. Especially if you're going in as a group that is not very familiar with it. I did play the single player to familiarize myself with the rules, and that was a good choice. But going in as a group, it took a while to sort of figure out how to best play the game together, and we played 3 games. We won one of those 3 games with the moderate rules. So if you're looking for a game, if what you want from a game is to win it, then this is you probably want to go with the easy rules. Or if you're just getting started and you have players that are easily frustrated, you probably want to start with the easy rules. But if you like a challenge in the game and that's what makes it fun for you and you enjoy cooperative games where you can get together and try to plan out what to do, then moderate is probably what I would recommend starting with. I think it was more fun with the challenge that was presented with the moderate rules. The characters I got to test out, I tested out Michael, Murphy, and Billy and Georgia. And then some of the others that we played, we played Thomas on the board. We had Dresden on the board, obviously. We had Butters on the board at one point, and that was fun. So we definitely got to play with a wide range. We had Susan on the board. And we also played with, if you get the extended content, you get a few extra cards. Like we played with Harry Dresden's insulting costume card. I will say that when you're looking at a book to do and you're looking at the characters that you have, how many of each different type of card, whether it's case solving cards, attack cards, so on and so forth, that you have, is going to have an impact on how difficult or easy the game is to defeat. So pay attention to that when you're looking at your characters and trying to decide what book you want to go and try to play through. The books that we played through the first 3. So we played through Stormfront, Full Moon, and Grave Peril. I'd say the definite strengths of the game are besides the art style, which is brilliant, is the challenge of the game. If you're restricting yourself to not being able to give direct cards, we were playing like the rules suggest, where you can say, okay, I have an attack card that's expensive. I have a clue card that's expensive, but where we weren't giving each other all of these specifics. And that creates a little more challenge because you can kind of plan around each other, but you're not just outright showing each other your hands. And I would also say that what added to the enjoyment was, if you are someone that's read the books and really enjoyed the books, just getting to put together the different characters and sort of imagine, as you're looking at the different things that they're doing, imagine how that's tying into the story and what it says is happening in the story. So it's a lot of fun. They did a good job of tying the books into a workable game that also can add to the experience of the fans that are playing it. I would say if there's anything to criticize about it, it would probably be that there's no build-up system, and this is me nitpicking, because the other group game that I've played a lot, the other group games that I've played a lot have had sort of systems where if you're playing for an extended period of time, as you've defeated one scenario, you can then use that to build into the characters that you already have and go into future scenarios. And that's me being spoiled with those games. And so as we were playing multiple books with ours, wishing that there was some sort of system to deal with that in ours. That being said, we couldn't have really used that anyway because we didn't win enough of the games to be able to use it that way. But again, that's nitpicky. I definitely enjoyed it. It is a numbers game. So if you're one of those people that isn't going to get enough enjoyment out of the game just from being a fan, and it needs to be the type of game that you like, and the specific type of game that you enjoy playing, and you don't enjoy games where you're sort of trying to, keep track of your resources and your numbers as you're going through and figuring out who's going to play what on what card, then this might not be the game for you. You might want to focus more on the role-playing game or on some other type of game and just skip over this one for now. I was looking through the cards, and as I was playing Billy and Georgia, that they changed the dice that Billy and Georgia were rolling during the artwork for the card where they're playing a game, so that it was the fate dice. I thought that was a cute touch. And I definitely liked that you really did have to work as a group. Like, you would communicate with each other. You would say, don't worry about that guy, I got it. Or I really can't do anything about this. We really need someone playing these sorts of cards. I lucked out where there was one where the character that defeated it had to, the character that defeated the card had to give up their attack cards. And luckily for me, I had already gotten my attack cards out of the way. I didn't have any more, so I was able to get rid of that card and be done with it and not have to lose any extra cards. Because card management is really what you're doing in this game. You're making sure that as you play cards to get back what's called fate points so that you can then play more cards. You're really paying attention to what you can and cannot get rid of, and how many fate points to play cards you can then get out of discarding. And they really do limit the amount of cards that you can get. So if you're going in for the first time, the most important thing is to just pay attention to how many of each type of card you have and how many ways you can draw new cards, because that's going to be what's limiting your resources for the game. And that is where the challenge really comes from for the game. I do like, as we went through the different books, that the obstacles for each of the books changed a lot. So you always had to look at them and pay attention. And that changed the method that you used for playing the game. So replayability, if you're switching around within the different books, is pretty high. Like, you can have a good time playing through multiple scenarios with this game. So that's a definite plus. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I definitely recommend it if you're a fan of the Dresden Files and you're a fan of board games. I think it's worth buying. For me, it was worth getting the editions as well. I really enjoyed those, and obviously other fans of the game are going to appreciate more options for books and for characters that they can choose from. I would also say that just looking through all the cards is a joy. So if you're a fan of the Dresden Files, it's definitely worth checking out and buying as a game. If you're not a fan of the Dresden Files and you're still looking at this as far as is it a good board game, yes, I think it's a good board game. I don't know if you'll get your money out of it, your money's worth out of it, if you don't know the books. And I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm saying that for the same price, there are similar games with a similar group dynamic that have a little bit more replayability. And so for the added enjoyment that you get as a fan, it's worth buying, especially at the expensive price it's at now, because it's new. If you are not a fan, where you're not going to get that extra enjoyment out of the characters and the scenarios that you're going to be playing through, it's probably not your best choice for a group cooperative resource management game. That being said, if you're someone that collects board games and you're looking at whether to get it, I would say that it is worth getting for that. If you're used to Shadowrun, if you're used to other types of cooperative games that are doing similar things, and you want something new, then it is worth your time. It is worth your money. It's a good game. It's fun. People can play around with the characters. People can add as much to the experience as they want. And it has a slightly different flavor than the other types of games like this than you're going to have played. So I really enjoyed it, and I hope everyone watching this who's already purchased the game does too. If you're considering purchasing the game, then I hope this helped make your decision for you. Thank you very much. Please like, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the game, if you've played it, and otherwise let me know if this was helpful, or if I do reviews of other games, what can add to what you're getting out of these videos. Thank you very much. Bye.